Today we're going to talk about something that sounds super complicated, but is actually pretty simple once you break it down. We're talking about Bitcoin. Now, if you've ever felt confused when people start throwing around words like cryptocurrency, blockchain, or digital wallets, don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll understand Bitcoin better than most people who've been talking about it for years. So let's start with the absolute basics. Imagine you're 5 years old again, and your parents give you $5. That's real money, right? You can hold it, you can see it, you can use it to buy candy at the store. Bitcoin is kind of like that $5, except you can't hold it in your hand. It only exists on computers and the internet. Think of it as digital money, like the numbers you see in a video game, except this digital money can actually buy real things in the real world. Now here's where it gets interesting. When you use regular money, like dollars or pounds, there's always someone in charge of it. Banks keep track of how much money you have. Governments print new money when they want to. Your credit card company processes your payments. But Bitcoin is different. Nobody is in charge of Bitcoin. Not a single person, not a company, not even a government. It's like a game where everyone plays together, but there's no referee. Everyone watches everyone else to make sure nobody cheats. Let's think about how regular money moves around. Say you want to send $20 to your friend who lives across the country. You'd probably use a bank transfer or an app like Venmo or PayPal, right? When you do that, the bank checks your account, makes sure you have $20, subtracts it from your balance, and adds it to your friend's account. The bank is the middleman keeping track of everything. They write it all down in their records. You trust them to do it correctly. Bitcoin removes that middleman entirely. Instead of one bank keeping track of who has what money, thousands and thousands of computers all around the world keep track together. Every single Bitcoin transaction that has ever happened is written down in something called a blockchain. Picture a massive notebook that everyone can read, but nobody can erase or change what's already been written. Every time someone sends Bitcoin to someone else, it gets written in this notebook, and everyone's copy of the notebook gets updated at the same time. This is actually genius when you think about it. If one person tried to cheat and say they have more Bitcoin than they actually do, everyone else's notebooks would show the truth. The cheater would get caught immediately. It's like if you were playing Monopoly with friends and everyone had their own copy of the bank's records. If someone tried to steal money from the bank, everyone else would notice right away because their records wouldn't match. So who created this whole system? Here's where the story gets mysterious. Bitcoin was invented in 2008 by someone using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. The wild part is, nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto really is. Could be one person, could be a group of people. They wrote a paper explaining how Bitcoin would work, created the software to make it happen, and then basically disappeared. It's like someone invented something revolutionary and then vanished into thin air. To this day, Satoshi's identity remains one of the biggest mysteries in the tech world. Now, let's talk about where Bitcoin actually comes from. With regular money, governments just print more whenever they want, but Bitcoin works completely differently. New Bitcoins are created through something called mining. Don't worry, this isn't the kind of mining where people dig underground with pickaxes. Bitcoin mining happens on computers. Here's how it works. Remember that notebook we talked about, the blockchain? Well, all those transactions need to be checked and added to the notebook in an organized way. Bitcoin miners use powerful computers to solve really complicated math problems. When they solve one of these problems, they get to add a new page of transactions to the blockchain notebook. As a reward for doing this work and using their electricity to power their computers, they receive some brand new Bitcoin. It's like getting paid for being the record keeper. But here's the catch. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. That's it. No more can ever be created. Right now, there are about 19 million Bitcoin that have already been mined. The last Bitcoin won't be mined until around the year 2140. This limited supply is actually one of the reasons people think Bitcoin is valuable. It's scarce, kind of like gold. You can't just make more gold appear out of thin air, and you can't do that with Bitcoin either. Let's talk about why people actually care about Bitcoin. One big reason is that it gives you complete control over your money. When you have money in a bank, you're trusting the bank to keep it safe. They can freeze your account if they want to. They can limit how much you withdraw. With Bitcoin, you're your own bank. You control your Bitcoin with something called a private key, which is basically a super long password. If you know your private key, you can access your Bitcoin from anywhere in the world. Nobody can freeze it, nobody can take it away, nobody can tell you what to do with it. Another reason people like Bitcoin is that it works the same way everywhere.
If you want to send money from the United States to someone in Japan using regular money, you'd have to deal with banks, currency exchanges, fees, and waiting days for the transfer to complete. With Bitcoin, you can send any amount to anyone anywhere in the world in minutes, and the fees are usually much lower. The Bitcoin network doesn't care about borders or currencies. It's universal.
Some people also see Bitcoin as a way to protect their wealth. Think about it like this. Governments can print more money whenever they want, which can make each dollar worth less over time. This is called inflation. You've probably noticed how things that cost $1 20 years ago might cost $3 now. But because there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, it can't be inflated the same way. Some people buy Bitcoin hoping it will hold its value better than regular money over the long term. Of course, Bitcoin isn't perfect, and it comes with risks. The price of Bitcoin is incredibly volatile. One day it might be worth $50,000 per Bitcoin, and a month later it could be $30,000, or it could go up to $70,000. The value bounces around a lot, which makes it risky as an investment. People have made fortunes with Bitcoin, but people have also lost a lot of money by buying at the wrong time. There's also the issue of security. Remember that private key we mentioned? If you lose it, your Bitcoin is gone forever. There's no customer service to call, no way to reset your password, it's just gone. Thousands of Bitcoin have been lost this way, sitting in digital wallets that nobody can ever access again. On the flip side, if someone steals your private key, they can take all your Bitcoin and there's no way to get it back. This puts a lot of responsibility on you to keep your private key safe. Another thing to know is that Bitcoin transactions are public. Anyone can see every transaction that happens on the blockchain. Now, these transactions don't show your real name, just a long string of numbers and letters that represents your wallet address. But if someone figures out that a particular wallet address belongs to you, they can see every Bitcoin transaction you've ever made. It's transparent, but not exactly private. Let's also talk about what you can actually do with Bitcoin today. More and more businesses are starting to accept Bitcoin as payment. Some companies have even put Bitcoin on their balance sheets as an investment. There are Bitcoin ATMs in many cities where you can buy Bitcoin with cash. Some people use Bitcoin to send money to family members in other countries. Others hold on to it as a long-term investment, believing the price will go up over time. Getting started with Bitcoin is actually easier than most people think. You can buy Bitcoin on apps and websites called exchanges. Some of the popular ones are Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance. You create an account, verify your identity, connect your bank account or credit card, and you can buy Bitcoin just like you'd buy anything else online. You can buy a whole Bitcoin, or you can buy just a tiny fraction of one. You don't need thousands of dollars to get started. So, is Bitcoin the future of money? That's the big question everyone wants answered. The truth is, nobody knows for sure. Some experts believe Bitcoin will eventually replace traditional currencies. Others think it's just a speculative bubble that will eventually pop. What we do know is that Bitcoin has survived for over 15 years now. It has millions of users worldwide, and it has sparked a whole revolution in how we think about money and technology. The important thing to understand is that Bitcoin represents something bigger than just digital money. It's a new way of thinking about trust, control, and how we exchange value with each other. Whether Bitcoin itself succeeds or fails, the ideas behind it have already changed the world. If you found this helpful and you finally understand what Bitcoin is all about, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more videos breaking down complex financial topics in simple terms. Drop a comment below and let everyone know if you own any Bitcoin or if you're thinking about getting started. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.